Hey guys, this is Lever Maniac. I had a little bit of trouble this week, so yeah, this video dropped a little bit later. And the video I'm talking about is the corrected deck profile of the first of the virtual world decks that I'm representing right now. And first, I was in the Battle City. I was dropping the. Just a second. I have to stop something. There you go. I'm back. In the first Battle City arc, I dropped my. As all of the decks, I dropped the antagonists of the era. So I thought that might be appropriate if I go the other way around this time. I'm presenting first of our heroes right there, or one of them, this gentleman over here, or there. This is the corrected deck profile of the virtual world corrected deck of Seto Kaiba. Now, I could have, it would be far more logical if I would have begun with Yugi's deck profile, but I thought, because I'm a great fan of Seto Kaiba, I'm beginning this time with this specific deck profile. On the one hand, and on the other hand, because mainly it is Seto Kaiba and his family controversials that this arc is basically about. So yeah, this is the first mate I'm presenting to you. Now, what can I say about all of the arc that we are talking about, as I just mentioned a couple of seconds ago? It was basically about the controversials between Seto Kaiba and his family, his father, his stepbrother, and all the enemies which were, in terms of jealousy, backgrounds behind his company. So it is mainly, you could state as, just a second, the company Kaiba Corporation. Now, as I already said, Seto Kaiba is the first protagonist of this specific era, and it is very astounding that the weight of his dragon type monsters, as is in this particular era, heaviest in terms of or in relation respective of dragon type monsters. He has the most of the dragon type monsters in all of the other arcs. And in comparison to all other arcs, he has most of dragon type monsters in this specific saga in his deck. And yeah, we can now begin to watch them. First of all, of course, it is very natural for Seto Kaiba to have, of course, the 3 times this specific boss monster, which is 3 blue eyes white dragon. Now, of course, this boss monster is his main boss monster in all of the original series. In Battle City, he has, of course, Obelisk as well, and in the Orichalcus era, he's got also Critias. But in this special arc, as well as the other one, I think the World Championship arc, these 3 as main boss monsters. I think in the last, or not the foremost, but fourth arc, this World Championship arc, he has also the Chaos Emperor Dragon, but we'll come to that if we are that far, but we are not. So yeah, let's go on. Yeah, he has these 3 boss monsters as an original Duelist Kingdom segment, and of course it's also other decks as well. It is mainly the strategy is based around his 3 Blue-Eyes White Dragons, and I will then follow up telling you in which way. Then he also got here Zanru, which is, I think, introduced first of all in this arc. I think he plays it out in the final duel against a stepbrother Noah Kaiba, who just exists as a computer chip, as his mind was digitalized in order to maybe restore him with another body, as his body was broken. Henceforth he had a car accident. Yeah, and yeah, it's one of his strongest dragon type monsters, except of course for the 3 Blue-Eyes White Dragons, 2100 attack and even 2800 defense. And in this arc, another thing I have to mention is there's another ruling that has or plays a big role, namely the Deckmaster system, which means we have to before starting a game or the players that are taking part into the duel have to choose one of the monsters as a Deckmaster, which has then special abilities in order to protect or to put special skills into the work within the battle. And it is a last protection if you use the skills of him or of the monster that you choose as a Deckmaster, then you have to put it onto the field. In this specific era, I think Kaiba did not choose just one, but maybe 2, but the only one I do remember right now is Seahorse Caesar. Deep Seahorse? I don't know what it's called in English. In German it's called Caesar Seahorse, but I think it's Deep Seahorse, something like that. But yeah, I'm very certain he used that one at least one time in order to use this effect for light monsters to tribute, or just in order to needing to tribute just one monster instead of 2 for a light monster, tribute summon of a light monster. And as we of course all know, that he does have his Blue-Eyes White Dragons, which are light monsters that require if normal tribute summoned 2 tributes, but he has the ability, this Deep Sea Horse has the ability to make that 2 tributes, 1 tribute instead of 2. Change that effect, and yeah, so it might come in handy for him. And then we go further, of course, 3 times this Thunder Dragon. Now he does use his Thunder Dragon in order to, I think, support this specific card, namely the Spirit of Ryu. If you its effect works like that: if you discard dragon monsters, you can increase this card's attack attack stats in terms of 1,000 for each dragon type monster you discard to the graveyard. So yeah, this is very practical. Then we go on with Cave Dragon. This card doesn't have play, doesn't see play in this arc, but he has it in his hand. He had it to discard it by the effect of the opponent of one of his earlier company employees, one of the elite company employees he had, namely Lecter, which we of course were then relating to in another deck profile, as he duels himself against this specific one. I think he has a Hyros Shadow Spy, which is destroyed, and then he has the effect that Kaiba has to draw 3 cards, but discard, I think, all of them, or just the spell cards. Yeah, no. Then I might be mistaken. He has to. I don't know if he uses that one. I think he has, for some reason, has to discard this one, maybe in order to grant this specific Spirit Ryu more attacks. More attack numbers than before, but I'm not sure. I know just for the camera is disturbed today. Yeah, as I said, he does have he does place this or just he at least has this card in his deck. So next one. I think next one is, or could be, Twin-Headed Behemoth. Now this card has a very handy effect that as it can special summon itself after it's been destroyed once, but then with fewer attack stats, namely 1,000 in each mode. Then one of his another engines in this specific deck is Giant Germ, which I put 3 times in there, as I could imagine that he might have it 3 times, but you can see just 2 times. And its skill is if it's destroyed, then your opponent does have or gets effect damage and an issue of 500 points, and you can special summon another of the Giant Germs from the deck onto the field. Another mechanic which did come very handy into his battle, that you have to say even has did save his butt for another few rounds against Noah Kaiba's stepbrother, was the Different Dimension Dragon, as it as always, if it is destroyed, it does return to the field, a special summon to the field. Another card which has the ability, I think that this effect is very used very often from him into that specific arc, is Vampire Lord, but this one, in comparison to that one, has the effect to be special summoned no matter from which effect it is destroyed. I think it's even if it is destroyed from spell, trap, or from a monster, you can always special summon it back. In comparison to that mechanics, this one is, I think, always just special summon if it just for destroyed by spell or trap cards, and it cannot be destroyed with if it battles with a monster with 1,900 attack or more. So if it, for example, is destroyed from a due to a battle from a monster with 1,800 or something like that, or fewer, then it doesn't come back again. But Vampire Lord, for example, does come back, and this one, no matter what happens, I think comes back just one time. So you have just the possibility to special summon this card just one time again. Yeah. Let's go further. Then you also had this card, which he just, I think, engage into the battle in this one saga, which is Slave Warrior. Then introduced into this arc a Spear Dragon, one of his cards which he will, I think, take into his deck in another arcs as well. Then Mystical Genie of the Lamp, which is of course combined with the Ancient Lamp. I think in the battle against his stepfather Gozabaru, he does use that specific engine in order to, I think he flips this Ancient Lamp face up, as it has the effect to special summon a Mystical Genie of the Lamp, and then tributes both in order to tribute summon his Blue Eyes White Dragon. Then another card which was, as it called later from, or as revealed from Yugi, was one of his favorite cards, is Cyber Jar. And Cyber Jar was, I think, in Kaiba's deck, but you didn't see him playing it, or I don't know. Maybe against Lecter, but I think Lecter himself had Cyber Jar as well. I think I'm speculating that at Yugi did duel himself against Noah Kaiba, as Seto Kaiba lost against him and was turned into stone from him. From Noah. So that as a result of that, Yugi wanted to continue with the battle against Noah by mixing his own deck up with Seto Kaiba's deck, as Seto Kaiba had 200 life points left, and Noah just decided to immediately, instead of fighting him further, to turn him and his brother Mokuba into stone. Yeah, and then Cyber Jar is revealed in this battle. Then, of course, Law of Dragon. I think Kaiba does battle himself 2 times, and one of this 2 times is, I think he does use Lord of Dragon, but I'm not sure. Maybe I might be wrong. But he had it in his deck. That's what I know. Then Possessed Dark Soul, which he played out, or at least had in his hand, as well as his Evil Worm. I don't know in which. I think against Lecter it was played face down and was then destroyed. And of course this card, which I'm just forget about how it is called in English. It's the Force Plünderer card in German. And in this artwork it's very interesting too. Legendary Collection of Kaiba, you get this one. If you get this one, then you get it in this specific artwork. But I like the other more, and as it is also in secret, I do also possess the other one, but I do have it in another deck right now. So yeah. This onto his monsters. Then we're coming to spell cards, which were not that much. I think even the sheer amount of monster cards which he has in this specific era is most. Besides the Duelist Kingdom, I think that he might have even more. But yeah, if you do not mention that, then he has in the specific arc most one. So then, of course, Flute of the Summoning Dragon, which we now have to remember he had it at least 2 times. I didn't find the other one, so I just put it once in there. You just imagine if I had the opportunity to find them, I would have put it even 3 times in there. As I already mentioned, he had very many dragon type monsters in his deck. I think even more than in the Duelist Kingdom. So yeah, I would put it 3 times in there, and of course staples like Monster Reborn and Pot of Greed. Oh, maybe you don't see it now. So, there you go. Then Defusion. I think in order to save one of his fusion monsters. Shrink, one of his favorite cards, of course. One specific card which saw very much play in this arc was Heavy Storm. He did play it out, and Yugi also played it out. Then a Winged Beat of the Giant Dragon, which has the ability, if you have a dragon type monster, to destroy all spell and trap cards. Then Quick Attack, I think he played that out. We do not have this card in the TCG, so I put this one in there. It I think works similar. Of course, polymerization in order to bring his fusion monsters into play. Magic Reflector, which he had to discard by the effect of the one monster of Lecter that I already told you about, which was Hyros Shadows Spy. And Ring of Defense, of course, with the combination of a specific card, which I will then relate to if we did come that far. Now, that alternate spell cards. And then his trap cards. Ring of Destruction, of course, as I had Ring of Defense before. I referred now to that Ring of Destruction, which you know the ability all by now, I think. One of his other cards, Crush card, of course. One of his favorite cards in combination with Shrink. Then introduced into that arc, as like I said, very much dragon weight cards or dragon focused spell and trap cards, as well as monsters, as Flammable Odin, as well as Dragon's Rage. Then Last Turn, a card which also is very typical for that arc, as it shows 2 of the spirit monsters on his artwork, Hinukage and Yamata Dragon, which the stepbrother of Kaiba did possess both of them. Soul Demolition. In his last duel against his stepfather, he had to play that very specific card out in order to destroy the Black Exodia or the Exodia Necros. And last but not least, Negate Attack. Now, there we go. Onto his fusions. First time I will, of course, tell you guys which fusion monsters he had as well. As he had the 3 Thunder Dragons, he did fuse them, and then which is the card that then they morphed into was, of course, the twin-headed Thunder Dragon. Now, the twin-headed Thunder Dragon was one of these cards, and his, I think, major signature fusion monster, the Blue-Eyed Ultimate Dragon. Now, guys, there you go. This was his Virtual World deck of Seto kaiba. And as we getting started right now and go further into the ranks, of course I will present to you next Yugi's virtual world deck profile, and then yeah, we will first do the main heroes of this arc, and then we will come to the antagonist this time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There were a little kind of mistakes. It's very late and I'm getting a little bit tired, and so as a result of that, yeah, excuse me for the mistakes. And yeah, comment down below, don't be shy, and hit the like and the subscribe button if you liked it. If you're not, yeah, just tell me. I can certainly do better on one or other thing, and I think I will drop then 2 or 3 days my another character deck profile, and then yeah, we will go on. I did enjoy it still, though I'm that tired, and yeah, stay tuned for more content. I will of course go on with openings also. I don't know if I going to open the Legendary Duelist Soulborn Volcano that month, maybe another time. I think I will be doing it in general, but yeah, I'm waiting a little bit. Maybe if the prices are even more cheaper than now, then might be tempted to buy a display. But until now I have other plans, and I will let you know if they were successful. Then I wish all of you good night and bye. Your Slifer Maniac.